Hey, gorgeous souls, I'm Amanda. And I'm about to tell you the most devastating family betrayal story that turned my generous heart into the reason my own parents tried to steal my $400,000 home right out from under me, and how I got the most satisfying revenge that left them homeless and broke. When I discovered my parents had been secretly working with a real estate agent to sell my house while living rent-free in it for 3 years, I didn't just kick them out. I set up the most elaborate sting operation that caught them red-handed. Trying to forge my signature on sale documents resulted in their arrest for fraud and cost them their retirement savings in legal fees. But here's where this family property revenge gets absolutely insane. My parents had convinced my golden child brother Jake that they were gifting him the house, and he'd already put a down payment on his dream car thinking he was about to become a homeowner. When their scheme collapsed, Jake lost his deposit, his car, and his relationship with me, while my parents lost their home, their freedom, and their favorite son's respect. This story has everything: family manipulation, property fraud, sibling favoritism, fake documents, and the kind of generational revenge that destroyed an entire family's future because they thought they could steal from their own daughter. Y'all ready for this family property disaster? Because this is how 3 years of rent-free living turned into the most expensive mistake my parents ever made. Beautiful souls, let me take you back to 4 years ago when I thought I was being the perfect daughter by opening my home to my struggling parents, completely unaware that they were planning to literally steal my house and give it to my brother. I'm Amanda, 32 years old, and I work as a software engineer in Austin, Texas. I've always been the responsible, financially stable daughter who takes care of family when they need help. My parents, Robert and Linda Chen, are both 58 years old and had been struggling financially after my father's small business failed, and my mother was laid off from her accounting job. 3 years ago, my parents were facing eviction from their apartment and had nowhere else to go during their financial crisis. Amanda, we just need a place to stay for a few months until we get back on our feet, my mother had pleaded. We hate to ask, but you're our only option. I owned a beautiful 4-bedroom house in a desirable Austin neighborhood, worth approximately $400,000, with plenty of space for my parents to stay comfortably. Of course you can stay here, I told them without hesitation. Family helps family. Stay as long as you need to get stable again. My parents moved into the guest bedroom and main floor areas of my house, and I continued living in the master suite upstairs. I never charged my parents rent, utilities, or any living expenses during their stay, wanting to help them save money for their own place. Don't worry about money, I told them repeatedly. Just focus on finding jobs and getting back on your feet. This is what family does for each other. My parents had full access to the house, including the kitchen, living areas, and even use of my car when needed. Make yourselves at home, I said. This is your home too, for as long as you need it. I covered all household expenses: mortgage, utilities, groceries, insurance, and maintenance costs, while my parents contributed nothing financially. Amanda, you're such a generous daughter, my father would say. We're so grateful to have you taking care of us during this difficult time. My generosity extended to helping them with job searches, updating their resumes, and even lending them money for interviews and work clothes. I want to see you succeed, I told them. Whatever you need to get back on your feet, just ask. My brother Jake, 29, had always been my parents' favorite child, the golden boy who could do no wrong despite his constant financial irresponsibility. Jake worked sporadically as a freelance graphic designer, but spent most of his money on expensive hobbies, gaming equipment, and his dream of becoming a professional streamer. Jake is so creative and artistic, my parents would say. He just needs the right opportunity to showcase his talents. While I'd been financially independent since college, Jake had been living in my parents' basement until their eviction, then moved back in with friends. Jake is going through a tough transition period, my mother would explain whenever I questioned why he never helped with family expenses. Despite my parents living in my house rent-free, they continued sending Jake money for his creative projects and investment opportunities. Jake has such potential, my father would say. We need to support his dreams while he's building his career. I'd always felt like the responsible daughter who was expected to sacrifice for the family, while Jake received unconditional support regardless of his choices. My house represented years of hard work, smart financial decisions, and personal achievement that I was incredibly proud of. I'd saved for 5 years to afford the down payment and had been making mortgage payments religiously for 3 years. Before my parents moved in, this house is my biggest accomplishment. I'd tell people. I worked so hard to be able to afford it on my own. The house was in an up-and-coming neighborhood that had increased significantly in value since my purchase. Amanda, you were so smart to buy in this area, my parents would say. This house is going to be worth a fortune someday. I'd invested additional money in renovations, landscaping, and improvements that had increased the property value even more. Every improvement I make is an investment in my future. I've explained to my parents. This house is going to be my retirement security. My parents seem to appreciate and respect my investment in the property, often complimenting my decorating choices and home improvements. You've made this house so beautiful, my mother would say. You have such good taste and such a smart approach to homeownership. Gorgeous souls. What started as minor strange behavior from my parents living in my house quickly escalated into the most shocking discovery that they'd been planning to steal my home from the moment they moved in. About 6 months ago, I began noticing unusual behavior from my parents regarding my house and its value. My parents started asking detailed questions about my mortgage, property taxes, and the legal ownership documentation. Amanda, how exactly? Does the deed work? My father would ask. Are you the sole owner? Or is there any other paperwork involved? We're just curious about homeownership, my mother would explain when I seemed confused by their questions. We're thinking about buying again someday. My parents also began showing unusual interest in my work schedule and travel plans. When will you be traveling for work next? They'd ask. We want to make sure we're here to watch the house while you're away. I started receiving calls from strangers asking about the house for sale and whether they could schedule viewings. I think you have the wrong number, I'd tell them. My house isn't for sale. When I mentioned these calls to my parents, they seemed dismissive and suggested it was probably just confusion with another property. There are a lot of houses for sale in this neighborhood, my father said. People probably just have the wrong address. The first major red flag came when I arrived home early from work one day and found a real estate agent in my living room with my parents. Hello, I'm Janet from Premier Properties, the agent said, clearly surprised to see me. I was just discussing the listing details with Robert and Linda. Listing details? I asked, confused. What listing? This house isn't for sale. My parents looked extremely uncomfortable and quickly tried to explain the situation. We were just getting information about the market value, my mother said nervously. We wanted to know what the house might be worth, for insurance purposes. My father added quickly, we thought it would be good to have current appraisal information. The real estate agent seemed confused about the family dynamics and excused herself quickly. I'll follow up with you later about the listing timeline, she told my parents. Before leaving, when I pressed my parents for more information, they became defensive and claimed they were just being helpful by researching property values. We're living here, so we want to make sure you're properly insured, my mother said. We were just trying to be responsible. Asterisk, my suspicions were confirmed when I found real estate documents hidden in my parents' bedroom while they were out job hunting. I discovered a folder containing property listing agreements, market analysis, reports, and preliminary sale documents all related to my house. The documents showed that my parents had been working with a real estate agent for over 2 months to prepare my house for sale. Most shocking was a document titled Gift, deed preparation that outlined plans to transfer my house ownership to my brother Jake. The paperwork indicated that my parents intended to sell my house and use the proceeds to gift a property to Jake as part of their estate planning. There were also financial projections showing how the $400,000 from my house sale would be used to purchase a smaller property for Jake while leaving money for my parents' retirement fund. I realized that my parents had been planning to literally steal my house and give it to my favorite brother while I was at work. Further investigation revealed that my parents had been discussing this plan with Jake for months, and he was fully aware of their scheme. I found text messages between my parents and Jake about the house situation and Amanda's property. "Can't wait to finally have my own place." Jake had texted my mother, "When do you think the paperwork will be ready?" Soon, my mother had replied, "We just need to handle the legal transfer. And then the house will be yours." Jake had apparently been telling friends and potential roommates that he was about to inherit a house from our parents. "My parents are giving me this amazing house in Austin," Jake had posted on social media. "Finally going to be a homeowner." Jake had even used the anticipated house ownership to secure a loan for a new car, telling the bank that he had guaranteed family property as collateral. "I'm getting a BMW next month." Jake had texted our cousin, "Once I get the house, I'll have the equity to afford whatever I want." The most devastating discovery came when I found documents with what appeared to be my forged signature on property transfer papers. My parents had been practicing copying my signature and had prepared multiple documents that would legally transfer my house ownership to them. The forged documents included quitclaim deeds, power of attorney forms, and sale agreements, all designed to steal my house without my knowledge. I photographed all the evidence and realized that my parents were planning to complete the theft while I was on an upcoming business trip. "They're literally planning to steal my house," I thought to myself. My own parents are committing fraud against me. I also discovered that my parents had been lying about their job search. They'd actually been spending their time planning this property theft instead of looking for work. No wonder they haven't found jobs, I realized. They've been planning to steal my house instead of becoming financially independent. The timeline showed that my parents had been planning this theft from almost the moment they moved into my house. They never intended to get back on their feet, I thought. They planned to steal from me all along. Beautiful souls. When I realized my parents were planning to forge my signature and steal my house to give to my brother, I didn't confront them immediately. Instead, I planned the most elaborate sting operation that would catch them red-handed and destroy their lives. I immediately contacted a real estate attorney and a criminal defense lawyer to understand my legal options and plan my response. "Amanda, what your parents are planning is serious fraud," my attorney explained. "Forging signatures on property documents is a felony that could result in significant prison time. We need to document everything and catch them in the act," the criminal lawyer advised. "If we can prove intent and attempted fraud, the charges will be much more severe." I learned that my parents' scheme constituted multiple crimes: fraud, forgery, identity theft, and conspiracy to commit theft. "This isn't just family drama," my attorney told me. "This is organized criminal activity that could destroy their lives if prosecuted fully." My lawyers helped me develop a plan to catch my parents attempting to execute their fraud while protecting my property rights. "We're going to let them think their plan is working," my criminal attorney explained. "Then we'll catch them when they try to complete the fraudulent transfer." I also learned that Jake could be charged as an accessory if he knowingly participated in the scheme to steal my house. "Anyone who benefits from known fraud can be held criminally liable," my attorney warned. "Your brother could face charges too." I announced to my parents that I would be traveling for work for 2 weeks, giving them what they thought was the perfect opportunity to complete their theft. "I'll be in Seattle for a major project," I told them. "I'll be working long hours and probably won't be available to talk much." My parents were visibly excited about my upcoming absence, believing they'd have unrestricted access to complete their fraudulent paperwork. "Don't worry about anything here," my father said. "We'll take care of the house while you're away." "Have a great trip," my mother added. "Focus on your work and don't worry about things at home." I pretended to pack and leave for the airport, but actually checked into a hotel nearby to monitor the situation. My attorneys had arranged for private investigators to surveil my house and document any fraudulent activity. "We'll have cameras recording everything," the investigator explained. If they attempt to forge documents or meet with real estate agents, we'll have video evidence. I also installed hidden cameras in my home office where I kept important documents, expecting my parents to search for additional paperwork. Working. With my attorneys, I contacted the real estate agent my parents had been working with and explained the situation. "Mrs. Chen, I need you to know that my parents don't have authority to sell my house," I told her. "Any documents they've shown? You are fraudulent." "I had no idea," the agent replied, clearly shocked. They presented themselves as the homeowners and had what appeared to be legitimate paperwork. My attorney arranged for the real estate agent to cooperate with our sting operation. By continuing to work with my parents while documenting their fraudulent claims, we need you to record any conversations where they admit to forging documents or stealing the property, my attorney instructed. The agent agreed to wear a recording device during meetings with my parents to capture evidence of their fraud. "I feel terrible that I was unknowingly helping them commit fraud," the agent told me. "I want to help you catch them." We also arranged for the agent to schedule a signing meeting, where my parents would attempt to complete the fraudulent sale using forged documents. I decided to confront Jake first to give him an opportunity to confess his role in the scheme and potentially avoid criminal charges. "Jake, I know about the house plan," I texted him. "We need to talk before this gets worse." Jake initially tried to deny knowledge of the scheme, claiming he thought our parents were legitimately giving him property. "I don't know what you're talking about," Jake replied. "Mom and Dad said they were helping me get a house, but I assumed it was their decision." "Jake, I have text messages where you discuss stealing my house," I responded. "No, this is fraud." When confronted with evidence, Jake became defensive and claimed he deserved the house more than I did. "You make way more money than me," Jake argued. "You can afford to buy another house. I need this opportunity to get started in life. It's my house that I worked for and paid for," I replied. "You're literally participating in stealing from me." Jake's response revealed that he felt entitled to my property and showed no remorse for participating in the theft. "Our parents think you should share your success with family," Jake said. "You're being selfish by not helping me get ahead." I recorded Jake's confession and admission of knowledge about the fraudulent scheme, providing additional evidence for the criminal case. The real estate agent scheduled a closing meeting for the day I was supposed to return from my fake business trip. "If we can finalize everything on Friday," the agent told my parents. "Bring all the ownership documents and we'll complete the sale." My parents were excited about finally completing their theft and told Jake to prepare for homeownership. "By Friday night, you'll officially own the house." My mother texted Jake, "Start planning your move-in date." Jake had already scheduled time off work and arranged for friends to help him move into his new house over the weekend. Finally, getting my own place, Jake posted on social media, "Thanks to the best parents ever." I coordinated with police to be present during the signing meeting to arrest my parents when they attempted to use forged documents. "We'll wait until they actually attempt to complete the fraudulent transfer," the detective explained. "That way we have clear evidence of intent and action." The trap was set for Friday afternoon, and I was prepared to watch my parents destroy their lives trying to steal from me. Gorgeous souls, watching my parents walk into a police trap while trying to forge my signature and steal my house was the most satisfying justice I could have imagined, and the complete destruction of their lives was exactly what they deserved. Friday afternoon, my parents arrived at the real estate office with a folder of forged documents, believing they were about to complete the theft of my house. "We're so excited to finalize this for Jake," my mother told the agent. "He's been waiting so long for this opportunity. Let's get these papers signed," my father said, pulling out documents with my forged signature. "We want to surprise Amanda with the news when she gets back from her trip." As soon as my parents presented the forged documents and attempted to complete the fraudulent transfer, police officers entered the room. "Robert and Linda Chen, you're under arrest for fraud, forgery, and conspiracy to commit theft," the detective announced. My parents were shocked and confused, having no idea they'd been caught in an elaborate sting operation. "This is all a misunderstanding," my mother said frantically. "We have permission to handle Amanda's affairs, ma'am. We have video evidence of you forging your daughter's signature." The detective replied, "You're being charged with multiple felonies." The real estate agent provided her recorded conversations where my parents had admitted to forging documents and stealing my property. "I recorded them saying they were taking the house without Amanda's knowledge," the agent testified. "They knew they were committing fraud." My parents were handcuffed and arrested in front of the real estate office, with their mugshots later appearing in local crime reports. Jake was arrested at his apartment when police arrived with evidence of his participation in the conspiracy. "I didn't know it was fraud," Jake claimed desperately. "I thought our parents were legitimately giving me the house." "Mr. Chen, we have text messages where you discuss stealing your sister's house," the detective said. "You were aware this was fraudulent." Jake's recorded confession, where he admitted knowing about the scheme, was used as evidence of his criminal participation. "Told your sister that you deserved her house more than she did," the detective read from the transcript. "That shows clear knowledge of the theft." Jake was charged as an accessory to fraud and conspiracy, facing potential prison time and massive legal fees. "I can't believe this is happening," Jake said as he was arrested. "I just wanted to own a house." The car Jake had purchased using my house as collateral was immediately repossessed when the bank learned about the fraud. "Since the collateral was fraudulent, the loan is invalid," the bank representative explained. "The vehicle must be returned immediately." Jake lost his car, his deposit, and his dream of homeownership all in one day. The trial was swift and decisive, with overwhelming evidence of my parents' planned fraud and Jake's participation. The defendants planned for months to forge documents and steal a $400,000 property. The prosecutor stated, "This was organized criminal activity, not a family dispute." My parents' defense attorney tried to argue that they believed they had permission to handle my affairs, but the evidence contradicted their claims. Video evidence shows the defendants practicing forging signatures and discussing how to steal the property without their daughter's knowledge, the prosecutor continued. The judge was particularly harsh in sentencing, noting that my parents had violated family trust while committing serious crimes. "You betrayed your daughter's generosity and committed fraud against someone who was helping you," the judge said. "Your sentences will reflect the severity of your crimes." My parents were sentenced to 3 years in prison each, with additional restitution requirements and permanent criminal records. Jake received 18 months in prison and was ordered to pay substantial legal fees and restitution for his participation in the conspiracy. "This family's greed destroyed their relationships and their futures," the judge observed. "The consequences will last far beyond your prison sentences." The legal fees and restitution orders completely destroyed my parents' financial future and retirement plans. "Your parents will need to pay over $150,000 in legal fees, fines, and restitution," my attorney explained. "They'll likely never recover financially." My parents' criminal records made them unemployable in their professional fields, ending any hope of career recovery. "No accounting firm will hire someone with a fraud conviction," my mother's former employer told her. "Your professional reputation is permanently destroyed." Jake's criminal record and legal debt ended his streaming career aspirations and forced him to work minimum wage jobs to pay restitution. "I've lost everything," Jake told our cousin. "My career, my car, my future, all because I thought I deserved Amanda's house." The family relationships were completely destroyed, with extended family members cutting contact with my parents. "And Jake, we can't associate with criminals," our aunt told them. "You've brought shame to the entire family." My parents and Jake were forced to move to a different state to escape the local reputation damage from their crimes. I kept my house, received full restitution for legal fees, and gained complete freedom from my manipulative family. "Your house is completely secure," my attorney assured me. "No one can ever challenge your ownership again. I changed all locks." installed a security system, and created legal protections to prevent any future attempts to steal my property. This house represents my independence and success, I realized. I'll never let anyone take it from me again. The attempted theft actually increased my home's value through improvements I made with the restitution money. Sometimes the best revenge is simply protecting what's yours while criminals destroy themselves, I reflected. I've been contacted by other family members who experienced similar property theft attempts, and I've become an advocate for protecting family assets. Your story gives other people hope that they can fight back against family fraud, my attorney told me. Today, I live peacefully in my house, surrounded by friends who respect my success rather than trying to steal from me. I learned that family doesn't mean accepting criminal behavior. I now understand. Sometimes the best family is the one you choose. That's how you handle parents who try to steal your house and give it to your brother, y'all. You document everything. Set up a sting operation and let the legal system destroy their lives. Sometimes the best revenge comes from simply protecting what's yours and allowing criminals to face the consequences of their choices. My parents and Jake thought they could steal from me because I'm generous and trusting, but they learned that generosity has limits. Trust your instincts, gorgeous souls. If family members are asking suspicious questions about your property, investigate immediately. Never let anyone, not even family, steal what you've worked for. Your success belongs to you, not to people who want to take it. And gorgeous souls, if this story resonated with you, if you've been betrayed by family members who tried to steal your property or success, I want you to know that you have the power to fight back and protect what's yours. If you want to hear more stories like this, more tales of family property revenge, inheritance protection, and criminal consequences, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell. Your support means everything to me, beautiful souls. Every like, every comment, every share helps me reach more people who need to hear these stories. So smash that subscribe button. Leave me a comment about your own experiences with family betrayal and property theft. And let's build a community of people who refuse to let criminals steal our success. I'll see you gorgeous souls in the next story. And remember, let anyone steal what you've worked for. Document everything and let the legal system handle family criminals.